This is it, Luke. This is, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I will, the highlight of your year. And you've had a fantastic year.
Yeah, I would say, next to getting married, this might be the biggest thing. This may be it.
You're talking life now. Marriage, you got 2 kids. You're like saying being on the best hour of their day trumps that. Like, Brittany, I love you. Step aside. Ackerman's in town. He's sleeping in bed tonight. You go sleep with the kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Full access. Candy shop open. The whole thing.
Is that the kind of relationship we have now?
I mean, whether or not Brittany will accept it. That's what's going on.
Fair enough. Happy wife, happy life. Let's do the following. I want to do this a little differently with you. I want to go spoil everything. We're going to spoil the awesome things that happened in 2022, and then we're going to talk about them. So the listeners kind of can gauge, is this Luke Stroll, Steel Monkey CrossFit guy, the real deal? Or is Ackerman just bringing on his buddy, right? So here's what happened. Signed up for Affiliate U. You are in Mississippi, correct?
Right.
That's correct.
Yes.
So you're in Mississippi, and I mean, it's a very common thing. Mississippi, you work at the steel mill. Like, you were a salt of the earth, blue collar guy. I mean, you were doing computer type stuff. You weren't making steel with your hands and whatnot, but you get the picture. You're doing the Mississippi thing your whole life. Accurate?
Yeah. Well, no, I was running machines and I was doing the steel.
Were you? I thought
you were. Well, I would run a pod as well, which is what it's called. But I was down on the floor a lot. I was a tax mule, I was the grunt guy. I would rather do that than sit all day in front of a computer, which was the next step up. So I trained to do that, but I held a torch. I ran a crane, I did all the fun stuff.
And we're talking this was your career path, health insurance, many, many people. And I remember you and I spoke about that in the past. They start here and then they retire here. This is it. This is their life.
Yeah. I was putting back 24% in my 401k. My entire family was insured through this job. A lot of people that I went to high school with, they all ended up there. It was the old school you see on a movie type thing where everybody does the same work. If they're not a doctor or they're not in the military or whatever, then they go work in industry. And
we saved you.
You threw the raft. And I was lucky enough to grab onto it. Yeah, we'll go with it. Sure.
No, okay, going back to it. So for those of you, here we go. Flash forward, you left your very comfortable job, wife, 2 kids, like you said, health insurance, all those things. We can throw in there, you were doing some shift work too, which is never ideal for health.
Yeah, 4 on, 4 off, alternating days and nights. Yeah,
that's not ideal, but we're going to talk about the fact that you left that. The other aspect of this is in the same year, you've passed your level 3. You've earned your level 3 credential. So you've had quite the year when it comes to your affiliate, when it comes to CrossFit, when it comes to business. And you attribute that pretty much exclusively to Jason Ackerman, to me. Is that true?
Yeah, I don't even know who Affiliate University is. I just know who Jason Ackerman is.
How much did you really talk to Fern, right? More so I'm going to reach out to Ackerman. let's
Well, I
break
was
it
going to
down.
say, I don't even know who Marcus is or Katie or Fern. I just know who Ackerman is. So
Who are they? They're just, I keep them around. I'm the North Star of this thing. So let's take it back. You sign up for Affiliate U. Did you have the intention of leaving the steel mill?
well, that was my last ditch effort. I was at the end of my rope. Like most affiliate owners, so I was the head coach. I took over ownership of the gym. I actually started this gym with somebody else. We rebranded it. Then he left the picture. He asked me if I wanted to purchase it. My wife and I, we bought it, long story short, and here we are. And I took it to another level from what the former owner did. But then I had reached my potential. I was tapped out. It was paying for itself. And that was about it. I didn't have a whole lot of money to give my coaches raises. I didn't have a whole lot of money to put into continuing education for them. I couldn't pay my own bills at all. I was barely, I had just enough money at the end of the year to pay for the next year's affiliate fee, and that was about it.
You were so you had a full-time job at the steel mill, and then you took over this business. You bought a business, and basically it just became a time suck because you weren't even taking. You would have been better off at that time not purchasing the business.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, when we're not talking about passion and what you feel like you're meant to do, I was trying to pursue that, limping along, because then I had another full-time job and a family. But, yeah, if you're just looking at it from a logical standpoint, why buy the gym? Why do it, or why continue to do it? And I was at the end of my rope. I told my wife, Brittany, we were in our little third-car garage. We had a little gym. And I got teary-eyed, and I basically told her, hey, there's this thing called Affiliate U. We either do this or we sell the gym. That was where I was at. And so, and of course, Brittany was like, well, then, yeah, let's at least not leave any stone unturned is what the mentality was. And so,
You've got a great wife.
Yeah. I mean, she, and I don't tell her enough, but she's definitely a rock in our relationship. She almost without question just follows me. Like if I'm like, hey, we need to do this, she's like, okay, let's do it. I mean, it's obviously she might want to see the numbers on something, or obviously we talk through it and she wants to stay in the loop. But yeah, I mean, she never tells me. That sounds wrong. She never tells me no.
But no,
sometimes she tells me no.
Right.
Yeah.
But and we'll talk about that because that's really where it gets interesting. Like when you leave that job. But how did you find out about us to begin with, Affiliate U?
So I think it was just through Instagram. I knew you. So you were actually one of the people at my L2 over 5 years ago at this point.
Where was that?
And I'm talking right now over 5 years ago. I want to say it was in Tennessee.
Okay.
Man, it's been a while. And I actually got my L2 the same time as Chase Taylor did, who is now in Affiliate University.
Awesome.
He owns a gym in a neighboring community, and we went together along with a couple of our trainers to get our L2s, and you were one of the people there. Yeah, so that's how I knew about you. That's how I was following on Instagram. And then I saw you are definitely in my top three of the three trainers that were there. You were top three.
Gotcha.
Of the three that were there, you were in the top three. Yeah.
But it shows like you truly were passionate about this thing because you got your level 1, obviously, went back to take your level 2. You earned your level 3, which we'll talk about. But clearly the underlying message here is like you had this passion. The gym wasn't doing well. And I think a lot of people kind of are just like, we get calls all the time where it's like, all right, we're failing. We're going to close. What should I do? I'm like, you need to make changes. And then you had the wherewithal to seek out mentorship. And, where did that come from? I was at your level 2 and you followed Instagram and all that stuff. But where did that come from where you're like, man, these guys, I think they can help take us to the next level and then really turn this thing around? And did you really believe you would quit your job with that?
Okay, so I'll answer this in 2 parts. I was fortunate enough, not everybody is, I was raised to always respect other people's opinions. I mean, we were talking a little while ago. The Bible says wise man seeks many counsel. And I don't feel wise yet, so I haven't sought enough counsel, but I'm trying. And so that's how I was raised is, hey, when you are who the Bible was proclaiming about.
The Bible
yes.
says, that's Luke, to seek Ackerman. Seek Ackerman. he will solve
that's right.
all your
problems. This is, you're just going to twist my words. No, but yeah, that's right. I mean, and how many people, you can always reach out to somebody that runs a business, is older, has been there, done that, but you can't do that with CrossFit. Or you are starting to be able to, but there's very few resources out there. Obviously, CrossFit headquarters and CrossFit.com, they've upped their game. But it was, very few and far between. Affiliate University was it. And so, and I already knew you, and so in my mind, if I'm going to be the smartest person in the room, it's by surrounding myself with smarter people. And so people that know what they're doing and have success in where you're trying to go. And so from an early age, to answer your question, that's the goal.
Can you think of another time in your life where you did that?
Yeah. So when I was, my dad was always, let me start with my dad first. So, he didn't have the bandwidth, would be a good way to put it, to do, like some of these dads, they're really good. Hey, I'm going to take my son hunting, or I'm going to teach him how to shoot a gun, or I'm going to do every weekend or every time, there's an opportunity, I'm going to take him fishing, or just the boys stuff that is important. And it doesn't have to be hunting or fishing. It could be anything, football games, whatever. And my dad didn't always have the bandwidth to do that. Example, he didn't have hunting land, so he couldn't always just take me hunting on the weekend, or he didn't have. So at a very early age, I saw him surrounding himself with other wise people who knew how to do certain things, but it was to give me an opportunity to live those experiences out. So my dad humbled himself enough to say, hey, I can't do all this, so I need to surround myself with other people I respect so they can help me do this with my son. They can help raise takes a village kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So that's the earliest memory I have of bringing in other people to try to move forward together in whatever you're doing.
That's awesome.
And then throughout my life, I just I adopted that.
I like you, Luke Stroll. You're a good guy. I think that's why I've enjoyed working with you so much. And, part of that is also, I will say, you were a great student, right? Like you signed up and I think 99% of the time we've got great, like, I'm here to learn from you. But there are some people that are like, I don't know about that, or why should I do this? And, and for the record, it's your decision. But I think for many affiliate owners, it's like, hey, you're understanding I need help. And, to quote Gandhi, we're doing, Bible-esque quotes on this show. To quote Gandhi, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And I think for a lot of affiliates out there, they want this massive change, but they're not willing to do the things like, well, I can't change the rates, or I can't change the schedule, or bring on new coaches. And it's like, cool. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over again and expecting different results. And you were like, no, like, I'm in. So we talked pretty quickly, and like my goal for you and the way I work with my clients, like I like to get to know them. I remember sitting down with you and Brittany, and, I really wanted you to leave that full-time job because I knew, A, from a life and passion perspective, it's what you needed. And B, I also know from many experiences that when you get someone to do that, the growth at the box becomes just this exponential growth, because now all of a sudden you've got bandwidth. You're not disappearing for 4 days. You're refreshed. You can focus on it. So when we spoke about that, did you truly think it was going to happen? Like deep down, were you like, this little Jewish guy, although, he's my savior and all, but he's crazy. Like he's telling me he's turning water into wine. He's walking on water. He's splitting the Red Sea, telling me I can leave my job. This dude's crazy.
Yeah. Is it sacrilegious to put that in the same? No.
No false idols. No false idols.
Yeah. I've heard you talk about, and I don't remember who it was. Somebody was on here, and you were interviewing them. It was the WOD prep guy. What's his name?
Ben Javolsky.
Okay. Glad you said it, because I wouldn't have been able to.
We can call him Ben.
Pronounce it. Okay. But he made a comment, and I don't remember if I had quit the steel mill yet or not, but he made a comment. He said he is unemployable. And you that resonated with you. You basically said the same thing. And I could never quite figure out why I didn't have a level of ambition I thought I needed to have in the 9-to-5 arena. And then it dawned on me, I'm not supposed to work for somebody else. So I've always had that root in me of I'm destined for more than the rat race, but I didn't know how to put it into words. I didn't know how to do it. You got to bring other people around you. And so I always knew I was meant to. I always knew I needed to quit my job. I just didn't know how.
But so when we told you, like, hey, that's the goal, you were on board. You were like, I can, that is the goal. I need to obviously make sure my family is taken care of and the revenue's coming in and all these other things. But you were on board. Do you remember how long it was from day one where we sat down until you put in your 2 weeks?
Oh, it was within 6 months.
6 months?
Within 6 months. Yeah.
I mean, I remember as it was getting closer, communicating with you and getting excited and all, but it was really 6 months. Wow, we did it that quickly. What was
because? Well, so like we were on the phone. One of our first conversations, you said, I think you said April 1st. Okay. And that was April 1st of 2022. And we had just started either in November or December of 21. I don't remember. And so it was November because I just got an email saying it's been a year. And so then in April, I remember putting in my, it was either April or May, but I think it was April. I remember because I text you and I'm like, hey man, I hate to give you more credit. I hate to give you credit here because it goes straight to your head, but you were right.
Go on. What was I right about?
Yeah. No, but you said you said in one of our first conversations, hey, let's get you out of there by April.
Okay.
And that's literally what happened.
I did it.
Yeah, it was like, you did it. It was all you. That's right.
6 months. Talk to me about Brittany, your lovely wife. You tell Brittany, like, hey, this guy says 6 months, April 1st. What's her reaction?
The first thing she says is what every mother should say. It's what every mother needs to say. And that is, okay, as long as we're where we need to be for the kids.
Yeah, of course. And
so that's obviously, yeah.
What were some of the things that obviously we're talking financially, right? Anything, people that, when you're leaving your job, like you said, we're talking health insurance. We're talking a pension.
Everything.
That you're contributing to. Like right now, you probably still have a pension, right? Like at 65, you probably still have money sitting there, but it's nothing compared to what you may have had 30 years, longer in this career.
Okay, so I don't have anything to hide here. I'll give you some numbers.
Yeah, we would love it.
Hey guys, Fern here. Real quick, I just want to share a quick success story from one of the hundreds of gyms that we've been able to help inside of Affiliate U. And our mission and best hour of their day is to ultimately improve and grow the greater CrossFit community by building better boxes and creating better businesses with better coaching staff so we can bring CrossFit to the masses. Check it out. And if you think we can help you, don't hesitate to reach out.
As a result of Affiliate University, I will say my biggest takeaway is I am having so much fun as an affiliate owner. As a longtime affiliate owner, you always wonder, have I reached my peak? Do I have it still in me to keep on going? And I tell you, I have discovered this new just me within Powell Harbor, and being an affiliate owner, it's thrilling to do what I do and exciting to do what I do. The connection between my coaching staff is amazing. What we do as a team is so much fun. We're giving the best experience to our members to a point where we are grossing the most we've ever done in the history of the affiliate. And I can say because of Affiliate University, we've been given the tools to operate correctly, smoothly, learning systems and creating better experiences for our members to have that make them long-term members. And it's just been a blast doing it.
On my tax return, okay, total package, I was at $140,000 a year.
Okay. We don't need to, typically we don't brag on this show, Luke, but you want to brag about your tax?
I gave it up. I make a joke. I started at the bottom. I've been in the gym industry for 12 years. I started at the bottom making like $12 an hour taking out the trash. And now here we are 12 years later and I'm still making $12 an hour taking out the trash.
Yeah,
no, I'm kidding.
But it's your own trash now. But that much money in Mississippi is millions of dollars in Colorado. Right? Like 140K in Mississippi, you're like the richest person in the state.
Of living. We were all making that. They pay you that much for a reason. It's a terrible job. So don't think I'm bragging about anything, because if they paid me any less, I would hope to God that I would have enough self-respect not to. It's a lot of great guys. The company is not bad, but the environment, the atmosphere, it's tough.
I can tell you.
I was putting back in my retirement. I had insurance, everything. And so that was what I was staring in the face when this crazy man Ackerman says, hey, you're going to leave that in 6 months.
Yeah.
It was almost like the permission I needed to pursue it.
I get excited every time we talk about it. I truly this makes me so happy to see this, and I want to talk more, but I agree with you. 140,000, that's a shit ton of money. That's 3 times, like probably more than what the average person makes in the United States. But I will tell you this, like, to sacrifice your sleep and health, I don't know that it wouldn't, I don't think that would be enough for me. Like, we've know so much about the importance of sleep as it pertains to health and longevity and, overall, just satisfaction in life. Like, is it like, I'd rather make a third of that knowing I'm getting a good night's sleep, knowing there's not a risk I'm going to lose my hand at the steel mill, next. How many people lost their hand? A lot of people. You lose a lot of fingers gone in there.
My partner that I was working with all the time had a finger gone.
Oh, really?
Seriously.
Like, that's
so
a normal thing.
He had 9 digits. Yeah, I mean it's a tough thing.
Is there like a sign there, like, it's been X days since someone lost a finger? Do we have one of those signs at the steel mill?
Yeah, when you drive in the gate. Yeah, when you drive in the gate, there's either a red light, a yellow light, or a green light, if I remember correctly. And if it's a green light, it's been however many days since the last lost time incident is what they call it.
Yeah.
And if there's a red light, you're driving in that night. Let's say you're going in on a night shift and something happened that day, and you drive in, you see that red light, you're about to have an OSHA safety meeting, like something happened.
So you have this conversation with Britt. What were the numbers that you laid out? Like, what were the numbers where you're like, the family is okay, so long as Steel Monkey CrossFit is bringing in or we're taking home?
Yeah. So all we did at first, the mindset was, okay, I'm going to try to get the gym to where I can quit the steel mill, I can slide into the gym, and it'll feel like nothing happened. I'm making the same amount of money. Everything, we're ticking right along. Mind you, before I quit the steel mill, that was what I wanted. And then I quickly realized the only way to get the gym like that is if I wasn't at the steel mill. So then we kind of had to regroup, and we're like, okay, what's enough? Like, what do we need to do? What's bare minimum for right now? What do we need to do to where we can start on this new journey together and we don't have to look back? And it was, okay, what does Brittany bring in with her job? She's a nurse. And so at the time she made, I don't know, about a little over half of what I made, but it's an honest living. It's a good living. She loves what she does. Maybe more than that. But we looked at what she brings in each month. We looked at our bills, and then we subtracted. Okay, this is what I need to make every month to say, let's rock and roll. Let's quit. Let's put in my 2 weeks notice. And so that's the number we went with. I made sure I had independent life insurance and another few basic things, so that way my family would be taken care of. And then it was just about getting to that number.
And did you leave having hit that number, or seeing that number was in the near future?
So because of how I left, so the steel mill pays you a week late. So like last week, so this week's pay was for last week, kind of thing.
Right. Makes sense.
On top of that, it was the turn. So it was 2 or 3 months, maybe longer into the new year at this point. And somewhere around 4 to 6 months in, they hand out a profit sharing check from last year. Okay. And it's just another way to keep you. What did Kevin O'Leary say? Paycheck is the drug to make you forget about your dreams.
Oh, I like that.
But it was, yeah. And trust me, I was drugged up for 7 years. I fell into the trap, and so that profit sharing check was just, hey, this is what we divvy out to all the employees. And it was another way for a company to write off taxes so they could mitigate what they pay back to the government, is what it was. And so that was like a $3,500 check. And so I was able to quit, not quite having reached our goal at the gym yet, knowing that I'd have that buffer. And then at that point, it's like, okay, I'm all in. Now I'm there all the time for sales. I'm there all the time to be the face of the gym and to, what did Fern say? To kiss hands and shake babies. Mm-hmm. And so, that's, so anyways, is that interesting?
We've quoted Jesus, Gandhi, Kevin O'Leary. Let's keep the standard up a little higher than Fern quotes, okay? Let's keep them to the upper echelon. Ackerman is in that list. Fern,
I'm sorry. We need to restart.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Let's cut this and let's restart. But, so I think that was somewhat insightful, very brave, right? You have a lot of, and I think that's what a lot of it comes down to: courage. And also belief in yourself, right? Like we were talking before we hit record about one of my posts about religion. And, all I'm saying is like, if you can believe in other things in this world, whatever that looks like, religion, anything else, like, how about you just believe a little bit in yourself? Because that's what it stems from. If you would have quit this job and you're like, Ackerman's telling me to do it, but I don't think I can, and you would not be sitting here successful. You'd probably be back at the steel mill, be like, please take me back. I'll do whatever it takes, right? But you had a belief in yourself. Even better than that, you had a partner that believed in you and supported you, which is like, believing in yourself on steroids. And, and now because you took that leap of faith, really, you're doing it. When you quit, I mean, I remember multiple times you calling me like with just either ideas or opportunities that came to you. And, that doesn't mean, I remember one specifically, I encouraged you not to go with it. But the point was like, now you're opening up yourself to this, right? And now, whether it's time, whether it's your energy, all of a sudden things are coming to you because you're open to it.
Yeah. One of the things you guys do really well, when people reach out to affiliate you, I think most of the time they do believe in themselves. They just need permission. Affiliate owners, for whatever reason, are so hard on themselves. And so you guys, when we talked, you just gave me permission. Hey, it's okay. You can go pursue your dream. You can go do what you got to do. And then, my wife was huge in all that. But I don't know. There's a lot to unpack there. I think the big thing with trying to separate yourself from talking about leaving and needing permission and belief, I think there's like there's a second person inside of you. Not to get too crazy.
Oh, let's get crazy.
But
let's get crazy.
Okay, so somebody on Joe Rogan, I forget who he was like, you only have one life, and or you only have what was it? You only have one life. You have two lives, and the second one starts when you realize you only have one.
I think a lot of people have said something like that. I think you're talking about Stephen Pressfield. He was on recently, and he wrote a book called The War of Art, and also another book called Turning Pro that Fern and I both have read numerous times. And a lot of what he says is like, when the second life is like when you decide to be a pro, when you're no longer an amateur. And that's really what you do.
Yeah, it's a complete page turn. It has to be.
Yeah. So tell me more about this. Do you feel like this is your second life?
Yeah. For my family, for my wife, for me. I think this is actually what I was meant to do. I wasn't meant to go work at a steel mill and make a good living. And, that's how I support that's the example I set for my family. that's a strange way to believe. That's a strange way to live. At least for me, there might be people out there that are completely fulfilled in that, but that wasn't me. And so I had to, my life has been changed. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, like you're saying, not to take away from anyone that shows up to a 9 to 5, they could have a ton of passion for it. However, you realized you did not. And I tend to agree with you. I think there's plenty of value to teaching your kids, to get up, go to work, and, take care of your family. I think that's great. But even better if you show your kids like, hey, dad did something super courageous. We are a little scared about it, but ultimately, you taking care of yourself, you being an entrepreneur can yield tremendous results.
Oh yeah, it has. It's already, which obviously I'm paying myself through the gym, but it's already yielded way more than we ever imagined. Time is its own currency in and of itself. And I was paying for it. I was giving up way too much of that type of currency at my other job. Now I've got a lot more time to spend with my family, to devote to what I really believe I was put on this earth to do. So it's priceless.
Well, I'm imagining this might even be like your first holiday season where you're not worried you're going to be away for Christmas or Christmas Eve or New Year's.
Yeah. I was actually able to coach my son's Little League games this past season too. I mean, I was there so last year I made it to 2 of like 12 or however many 15 soccer games that at the time he was 4 years old that he had. And one of them I was late to because I was coming home or I was coming from work. And this year I was able to coach him. Awesome. That's irreplaceable.
That's probably the coolest thing I've heard, right? Like that's a big concern for me as, Madison gets older. Like I want to be the parent that's at all of the events. And, my mom was at everything. My father would show up to like one wrestling match a season when he can get off work or was close enough to work, and like you're saying, you had no choice in that. I'm sure every time you missed a game, it was like painful for you. You'd have to get home and ask your son, like, how was it? Right. And daddy wasn't there. And man, now you went from you were at, 1.5 games to literally coaching it. That's incredible.
Yeah. That's a good example right there of the shift in the life change that we were talking about.
What's an example of one thing that you think happened at the gym from a business perspective that if you weren't fully committed, you might not have realized or had that opportunity? So to preface that, there's so many things, but the first thing that comes to mind is the net 3. I'm literally, when people reach out to me on website or call me or whatever, I could be running errands, I could be at the house, I could be at the gym, and I could literally pick up the phone and go, hey, can you meet me at our facility in 20 minutes and I'll give you a tour. I'll show you around, answer your questions. Whereas before I was either having to say, hey, meet me next week, which never happens. Yep. Or I was trying to get one of my other coaches. Does anybody by the gym? Can you meet this person? It was terrible. My sales were terrible. And that's the biggest thing. One of the biggest things. Yeah. I mean, and again, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy where you quit and now you can be available. So you grow it takes balls to quit especially with when I went all in on CrossFit, I had no kids. I had 2 pugs, a girlfriend, I didn't have that. Now would be a different decision. Truly would be with a wife and kids, same as you, we have to look at numbers, etc. But until you take that leap of faith, you won't be able to, it's until you do it, you can't do it. If I'm making any sense there, you need to do that because it's like you said, even the smallest, easiest thing, low hanging fruit, net 3 doesn't sound like a big deal, but you're talking net 3, that's 36 members a year, simply from being able to show up, pick up the phone, etc. Fern and I have a recent podcast where we talk about, the next 12 months of events and how that should yield another 20 or so. So, without being able to do events and put the time into those, without being available, that's like potentially 50 plus members, throw in Bring a Friend Week, which is a challenge for you when you're gone for 4 days a week. So, until you take that leap, you can't necessarily get the 50 members you need to take that leap. So, kudos again to you and the fam for doing that. It's
a paradox.
It is a paradox, but you know what? You figured it out. So what's next? Now that you've got all this time, you've recently passed your L3. You're not, to be clear to the listeners, you're not an L4. I'm just being clear. I'm just throwing it out there in case anyone misunderstood what I said when I said you were L3. But you're
thank God you're clarifying.
Right? Is that on the 2023 list?
Yeah, well, I was excited to see that. Yeah, I was excited to see that they're coming back out with it. Quick story on the L2. I only wanted to, or L3. I only wanted to recert my L2.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And so even before I was in affiliate university, I knew that over the next year or so, my L2 is running up. But that's where I was as a CrossFit gym owner. I was burnt out. I was almost ready to hang up the towel. And I'm like, I'll just recert my L2 so I'll stay legal in the system with gym ownership. And then fast forward, this has rekindled the flame, so to speak. I got passionate about what got me started in the space, which was the methodology and what it can do. And then I restudied and brushed up on all the stuff. And now I'm an L3.
What made you want to just revalidate? You using the word recert, and for the record, it's revalidate. The level 3 is a certification. So anyone listening,
that's L3 lingo versus L4 lingo. I'm sorry,
you probably got that one wrong on the test, but because that's one of my biggest pet peeves when I hear that from affiliate owners, coaches also. But it's like, so you're telling me it'd be like, hey, I want to be a doctor, I want to be great in this field. I'm going to just go redo that undergrad instead of going to med school. Like, what? Why would you just be like? You're not a complacent type of guy. What made you feel like, just redo this rather than earning the next credential?
Well, you have to understand too, or the listeners do. I was still in that 9-to-5 job mentality, and for me, that was a vacuum that sucked all the motivation. I wasn't living my true purpose. And so you get blinded in a lot of areas of your life. That's why a lot of marriages struggle. I think it's because people aren't really where they're supposed to be in life. If they were more true to themselves and they were able to live out what they were genuinely supposed to do, then that positive energy reciprocates onto their spouse, and then vice versa. And then they don't misdirect frustration from that onto the spouse.
Well, it's hard to be in a relationship with someone else when you're not fulfilled internally, right? When you don't love yourself, or whatever word you want to use. But basically, if you're not fulfilled, it's hard to be happy and try to help, take care of others. Put your mask on first.
Yeah, it's so I was all bogged down with that part of my life. Again, we go back to the life-changing thing. And so that just overflowed into my passion, and it actually caused my passion to deteriorate a little bit, if you want to look at it that way. And so, it wasn't until I started working with you guys and that flame was rekindled, and I felt this wind. You're the wind beneath my wings.
I love it. Bette Midler going on here.
Yeah. Gosh, we're just quoting everybody.
So you just, that fire got rekindled and you were like, man, I'm not going to redo this L2 thing. I'm going for it.
Yeah, well, and at that point too, it was like, hey, I quit my job. I'm setting, if I want my coaches to keep getting better, I got to keep getting better. It's just a whole list of things that were working in my favor to keep me motivated at that point. But then it was easy because that fire was back.
Well, and I bet what made the level 3 easier for you is the fact that you were now all in at the box again. Like, one of the things we tell level 3 candidates is like, do CrossFit, live and breathe CrossFit, and you spent 3, 4, 5 months now back at the box, fully engaged, back into the methodology, coaching. And I'm sure, you put some time in studying, but that's truly, it's the level 3 is like one of those courses you take in college where it's like, man, if you show up, pay attention to this professor, stay engaged, you're going to pass, right? It's a hard test. Don't get me wrong. But,
yeah. You even told me.
Right. Yeah. But if you're just engaged in doing it.
You even told me, like, hey, you'll be fine.
I said that?
Yeah. Well, because the time I let it go, and I over the 4 or 5 years that I had to do it, I didn't do it because of what we were talking about. And then, the gym's doing great. I quit my job, but then I realized, oh wait, I've still got this issue of my L2's running up. Mm-hmm. And so then that's when I called you and I was like, hey, I had like 2 months left. And I'm like, hey, do I just re-up my L2 just so I can keep ownership of the gym? Or do I just go for it and study as much as I can, but take the L3? And you're like, no, just take the L3. You've been doing this long enough. You'll be fine. So.
Man, I say some good stuff. I do say some good stuff. So you, I mean, I don't want to downplay the impact I've had on your life, but I've been pretty substantial at this point. It's like, it's up there with,
Vern's never going to forgive me.
I think we go like, I know you're big, you're a Christian. I know Jesus is up there, but I gotta be side by side with that dude, like shoulder to shoulder with Jesus when it comes to Luke.
It's Jesus Christ and then Jason Ackerman, and I mean it's close.
It's close. I'll give it like JC, like give it up to him, like But I mean, I'm right up there.
Yeah,
I really want to get.
If you can turn water in the wine, you can pass them.
Yeah, I could do that. I feel like a little bit of practice. I want to get to Mississippi. I've never been to Mississippi, and I really want to get out there to visit you guys. Meet the fam, hang with the kids, and so I got to get Fern and the team on board because, like I said, like we love helping all of our affiliates. We've got plenty that are doing it full time. We got some that are still going part time. But to see this, like to me, it is so much less about the money. Like we need money to survive. We can't lose sight of that. But the biggest thing that I heard that I got super excited by was the coaching Little League. Like that's just like you got one, like you said, you got one life, you got kids. Like that's what it's all about. I think our generation, and I know I'm a little older, like our generation was very much like latchkey kids. Like I'd come home, no one's home for a couple hours. Like, like I said, mom was going to my wrestling matches, but not my father, and one of my close friends, when I was having Madison, said, presence is greater than presence, right? Presence, spelt like presence and attitude, greater than presence, like gifts. And I think that's true. Like your kids aren't going to remember in 20 years, oh, dad got me this for Christmas or, that, but they're going to be like, man, dad was home, or I used to go to the gym and work out while dad was coaching and he was at every one of my games. Like, that's what this is all about. Like open an affiliate because you want to have an impact on your community and health. And for the record, like don't be a martyr. It's okay to make money as an affiliate owner. You should be. You're providing tremendous value. And in fact, you're saving most people a lot of money in the cost of being unhealthy. But ultimately, the true goal should be to create your dream life. And for most of us, our dream life involves being around our family.
Yeah, you got to have time. There's two currencies. You got to figure out which one you want to spend and when. And money and time.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you got out all 10 digits intact. Do you ever see any of your buddies from the steel mill?
I do. They ask me how I'm doing, they still have like the war stories from inside the plant, and they're great guys, but I just laugh at the stuff, the work, the environment, it's an entrapment for sure, indentured servitude, whatever you want to call it. And I've tried to talk to some of them about that, and they're not ready. I don't know what term you would use. They're not woke. I don't know, but it's hard for people to hear that, the rat race type thing.
Yeah, well, I think it comes down to courage. Like we said, I think very few people on this planet want to get up and work a 9 to 5 for someone else, but at the same time, very few people on this planet have the inner gumption to do something about it. And I'm hoping it changes. I think, again, going back to the generational thing, like that was what your parents taught you. And when I went to college, that's what my parents taught me. I never dreamed at 44 years old I'd be on a phone call with an affiliate owner, talking about being an entrepreneur. So I think, you have to be able to take those risks in life. We've both done it, and it's paying off for you. So I'm so happy to hear that. Let's give.
It's entrepreneurship has a good head of steam.
Yeah. There should be more. There's no high school courses about entrepreneurship, right? We need to see that.
No.
Let's wrap this up. Give me a shout out to your lovely wife, because I think without her, like she's not here right now, but without her, we would not be talking, because you need a strong, significant other by your side to do something, like especially when kids are involved, right? It wasn't a selfish decision. Like you had to talk it over with her. What do you have to say to Brittany Stroll?
Well, we were talking about the Bible earlier. That's the only way I could be with a woman like that. There's got to be a God out there somewhere, if we want to think about it in those terms. But she has been a rock for us. We have 2 boys who are wide open crazy, and we've got a girl on the way.
Oh.
Brittany is like 9 months pregnant.
Oh, I didn't even, I may have known this. Congrats. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Yeah, number 3, it's a girl. And but she was the homemaker when I wasn't there. She took both of these boys. One of them was not even old enough to play soccer yet, but he was old enough to walk around and get into trouble. So she took both of these boys to soccer games when I wasn't there. She feeds both of these boys. She put them to bed, and she's been doing that. She was pregnant while she was still doing some of that, and without me. And so, I would not be here had it not been for her.
I'm not crying. You're crying. This has been really great catching up with you.
There's something in my eye.
Yeah, someone's cutting onions upstairs. This has been really great catching up with you. I'm excited. And like I said, we're going to get out to Steel Monkey in Mississippi. Hopefully we'll get out there next year. And I'm just so proud of what you've done, and, happy and humbled to be a part of your life. Also, I know we joke around, but man, this is so much fun to see what you've done. And I'm just excited. And I look forward to chatting more with you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you guys in my corner. I'm glad and grateful for our friendship, and this is only the beginning.